Today we take a look at two figures from the GoodSMILE Company. They're Kirby and the epic Majora's Mask Link.
Hey, welcome to the McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at a couple new action figures. These have been out just for a little while, but I want to take a quick break from board games. We are waiting on some new stuff to come in and queue up. We'll have quite a few new board games that have come in that we'll be able to queue up through the rest of the year, so look forward to that. I'm pretty excited about some stuff that's going to be coming in. But today I'm going to be taking a look at the Kirby 544 and the Link Majora's Mask 553, and these both are from the GoodSMILE Company. They also produce the Figma brand. I'm a big fan of Figma, anything coming out of the GoodSMILE Company. They've got some great sculpts, and the paint jobs are generally fantastic. I mean, they're just immaculate on these figures. And I also thought it'd be cool to kind of do somewhat of a Nintendo theme, as we have the ever-approaching Switch coming out here sometime next year, which I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait till that hits the market. That's going to be a big one, I think, for a lot of people out there, including a Nintendo fanboy as myself. So let's look at our Kirby first, and then we'll get into the Link. So I'm going to slide him aside here. If we just look at the package really quick, it does have a really nice window box on the front, and then there's actually these little tiny kind of porthole window views on the sides, and it just says, it actually says Kirby kind of across in pink on that circular window hole there. I wouldn't say that I generally would probably pick up a little cutesy pink like action figure like this, but you know, I'm a Nintendo fan. Kirby has played a big role in that universe. So I thought it was pretty cool when I saw this come out, and I will say this one is fairly rare. You can find it retail. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it through quite a few different channels like that. But it is much pricier than what I would have paid for it. You can see the sticker, well, maybe you can, there at the bottom, the $42.95. And I picked this up at Barnes & Noble's. My local Barnes & Noble's does a really good job at having a good stock of these types of action figures in. Various other things, board games, all kinds of cool stuff. So, you know, I was browsing my my local Barnes and Nobles and saw this and thought, you know what, for as hype as Kirby kind of has around that character, they probably aren't going to make a ton of these, and this is probably going to be more of a rare model. And it's played out that it actually is. You won't find this many of them in the stores or even on Amazon. The quantities are fairly limited, and again, it will be more than this $42 price range. So let's get in the box. I went ahead and opened the top already, and once we get into the box, it's got a really it's got a nice little sort of clouds with stars kind of backing in there that I guess you could use as a backdrop if you wanted to. But you can see once we get it out of the package here, there are quite a few accessories and looks that are included with this particular one. You can see here along the bottom there's 3 different faces, as well as the face that he just the standard face that's on Kirby there. We've got the classic fire breath fireball. You'll see that there is the little kind of elf cap hat. We've got the fire head. There's the magic wand. We've got his sword. And the last little thing we have here is actually another one of his arms. And it's got a little peg on it that you can actually attach for the wand or the sword. So if you want to put the wand or the sword in one of his little nubby arms there, you can, and by use of this extra arm that's included here. So we'll go ahead and get him out of the package and set it up here in front, and we can take a look at maybe a few different looks that he can have based on those accessories. Alright, so we got Kirby out of the pack here, and you can see everything that Kirby's going to come with, all of his accessories here, and we'll go through each one of them really quick. There is a very small instruction booklet that's in the bottom of the box here. I do suggest kind of taking a look at it really quick, specifically with the stand and how the stand works, and we'll go over that. There's actually three components that come with the stand, so you'll want to make sure you understand kind of how that works, so you don't break something accidentally, because some of the parts, specifically on the stand, this little tiny piece right here, you don't want to break that misusing it. So we'll set this aside. One thing I will call out as I got this out of the box, we looked at that there was some artwork, but you don't really see it until you open it up. There's actually some really cool artwork here on the sides. You'll see that's kind of hidden in the box. And again, if you're the creative type and you want to utilize this insert here as a backdrop to maybe like a scene that you want to set up or something, you can do that. So just kind of gives you the option, and I like it when companies do that, when they add that extra artwork there in the box. Just kind of gives you a little more option with the product. Again, this isn't probably generally the type of figure that I would buy and review, but I mean it's Kirby, right? It's epic. So one thing that I thought was really neat about this one, and I didn't realize that this is how it was. I thought that these appendages here, right, his legs and his arms were stationary, and obviously you get an extra arm here included to hold the wand and the sword. I was under the impression that probably would just screw off, and this one would screw on or would peg on. I couldn't really tell based on how it looked in the package, but once I got it out, I'm pleased to see that every one of these is actually, this whole entire ball is like magnetized, and all of these just kind of, so his feet, his arms, they all just kind of move around on the ball, and you can take them off and they just stick right back on. So that's actually a really cool feature of this one, because you don't really have any limitation in setting up the articulation of the pose, right? I mean, you can pretty much do anything you want in moving his feet any way you want, or his arms any way you want. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to put the sword in his hand. You could just you grab this other one here. It's got a little peg in it. There's a little hole here in the bottom of the sword. You peg the sword right in, and you just slap it right to the side, and then you can move that around. You can bring it up high, you can bring it down low. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want to get whatever pose you're looking for on the model. So I thought that was really cool. You don't always see that, so that was done pretty well. And you'll find that all of the rest of the accessories do operate in a similar way. So if you wanted to put on kind of his fire hat here, give him that fire head, and this is where you'd bring in your fireball breath. You can see that just magnetizes right on the top of him. The little cap works the same way, so it will magnetize right on it, right where you want it, and then it has no problem staying on there. So just wanted to call that out. And the three extra faces that are included, all you really do is just kind of get those arms and legs out of the way. And you'll see there's a line that goes all the way right to the center. Essentially just counterclockwise twist it. It's really easy, no effort at all. That comes right off. And then you can replace it with whatever face you want. Let's say you wanted to go with, his puff face there, or he's kind of sucking in the air, getting ready to puff up look. Maybe you can use that as more of a dynamic attack with the sword, whatever, right? This one here is really meant for the fire. So I'll go ahead and put that one on. Just put it on, give it a clockwise twist, and you'll see that one go right on there. What I'll do here is kind of kick his feet back a little bit. I'll put his fire crown on here. Put his arms sort of forward, and then let's take a look at the stand. So the stand actually comes, there's three pieces. This piece here you can peg right into the stand, and there's quite a few different holes to peg it in. I just chose to put it there for this example. And then right on the back of Kirby, there's a little hole where you can peg Kirby into that. And then set him up however you want, to get, and let's just say we kind of went with a look like this. And then what you can do is this little piece right here will actually hold the fireball, and that's what it's for. And there's a tiny little circular peg here. You just peg that in, and be careful when when you push that in, I could see you potentially maybe breaking that peg ball on top of that slender piece of plastic there. So just be careful with that. GoodSMILE does a really good job with the quality of their stands, so you probably won't have any problems. And then you can take this and you can peg it right into the stand, and then kind of move that around to get the angle and the look that you're going for. Right? So you can see as I've kind of finagled with it for a minute here, you can see you can set up more of that fireball scene here. And again, this is just quickly sort of putting it into a simple pose with the fireball. There's probably a lot of other cool dynamic ways you can set it up. I will tell you though that once you put this particular piece on him, he does become quite a bit more heavy. So if you wanted to have Kirby, more up into the air, it's going to get a little bit more difficult, and you can see as it kind of falls over there because it's just got that weight. And that middle hinge here, I mean, you can see at a certain point it'll hold it pretty well, but then now you're really kind of off the platform from getting the fireball. So if you want the fireball, you really have to bring it down further. And if you do want him to have kind of a little bit of a up off of the stand and not actually sitting on the stand, using the stand as part of the support, you're going to have to get a screwdriver out, and you'll see that this stand actually offers multiple points here where these screws are. You can actually tighten that screw, and that will tighten that joint, and then you shouldn't have any problem. You just want to be careful when you do that you don't tighten it too much, because again, this is a metal screw into a piece of plastic, so you don't want to break that plastic. That's a look at our Kirby. I'll go ahead and get him off the stand here, and we will go ahead and set the Kirbster right over to the side here so we can get into our Link. So looking at Link, this is again the 553. Now there are a few of these models that are out. This one is the one from Majora's Mask, which I think, my personal opinion is that this one is the best. It seems to come with the most accessories, and it's got a really good look to it. So if we go ahead and pull it out, I will note on the interior of this one, there is a sleeve, but it is just purple, and it says 553 on it. So it doesn't have that artwork like the Kirby one did, so that just has a plain insert, so you're probably not going to use that for anything else. So we'll set that here to the side. And you'll see all of the accessories that are included here. I mean, you've got the bunny ears. You have one other face outside of the one that already comes on the model there. Majora's Mask is actually in the background here, and it's it's the larger, it's highly colorful. It's really cool. We'll take a good look at that when we get it out. He's got his iconic shield, his sword. He's got a little potion. He's got the fairy, and he's got 3 different masks there from the game that you can acquire and put on. It gives different abilities and whatnot if you played the game. So that's pretty cool. So you can kind of set him up in quite a few different scenes, maybe, drinking a potion, or you can put him in the classic sword and shield scene. You can put any of the masks on him that you got here, or you can kind of set him up maybe looking like he's about ready to put on one of these other masks, and that's why they include these 3 smaller ones here, to be able to set that scene up. So, and who isn't a fan of Zelda? All right, here's Link out of the pack. So the figure is really nice. The paint job looks really good. I mean, all of the little brown leather kind of belts and straps, and there's some gold, paint apps that are on here for the buckles. Everything looks really good, really clean, as you would always expect. From the quality of this brand. The eyes in particular are done really, really well. So the actual eyes that are painted here on the 2 different faces just look awesome. Really good color, really good life to them. I don't know how to describe it, but the eyes look really, really nice. So I really like the application of those. And quite frankly, I'm not really sure if that is paint or if that's just a decal that's on there. That may just be a decal, but regardless, it looks good. So looking at the fig, there's not a ton of articulation, but you don't really need it because there's so many different options with the accessories. And the arms and extra legs that are included, and you will see there's quite a few. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 extra arms and one extra leg, actually designed in a way that go perfectly with the other accessories that are included. So you don't really have to worry about getting Link in any overly dynamic poses. The accessories are already pretty much set up and designed for that. So he does have a little bit of leg articulation, and it's right at the top. I don't know if you would call that his knee. I guess you would call that his knee joint. So that's what you're going to get for each one of those legs. They just kind of swing back and forth, and then they do turn side to side. And that's the only type of articulation that you'll get with his legs. The arms do move 360, all the way around. They're not going to bend at the elbow joint or anything. They are fixed in place, but there are, again, included arms that would be bent at the elbow joint. Just hands that would be articulated a certain way to hold maybe like the little potion bottle if you wanted to put him in that pose where he was sitting and sort of drinking the potion. This is the little hand and arm you'd want to use and put on that specifically goes with that accessory. This one here is the one that you're going to want to use for any of the smaller included masks, which each have a little peg hole at the very bottom. So, you can kind of hold that mask with the hand, and you'll see it's got a really good look to it where it holds that mask, and then he's gonna replace that that left arm there with this, and then have that ability to kind of look like he's about ready to put on that mask. So you can see how quickly you can switch those parts out, and it does have a really good look, just designed with the way these parts are made. So I really like that. When they make these figs like that, where some of the accessories are specifically designed for different poses and looks, and you don't have to rely as much on trying to get that perfect articulation set up, because not everybody's good at that, setting them up and posing them and doing the articulation. So it's nice when you can buy a fig and that just kind of comes naturally. With the cap that he has on, you can spin that 360. That actually does pop off as well. I'm not really sure why it totally comes off. I can't really seem to see anything else here that would benefit from that. But I think it's just because it has that peg that spins around. It just kind of gives you that freedom versus making it connected and just having it on maybe a spinner bearing inside. Maybe it was just easier to manufacture by just making it a simple peg that went in, and you can kind of spin that however you want. So if you want to switch out his face, because he does come with a kind of a Battle Link face here, it's very simple. You just pull lightly on the hair piece, which comes right out, and then this face slides right off, and then you would just put on the new face, slide it right in like so, put the hair right back, and you're done. And now you kind of got the Battle Link face. When you want to put on the bunny ears, you don't have to take anything off, and you can kind of see the way that they designed the top of the cap here. There's kind of a sort of an indent in the plastic that shows you right where that bunny ear would go on. So let's say you wanted to put those on. What I like to do is just kind of pull the edges out just a little bit as it goes on. That way you don't scratch the plastic, because I will say that the ears do go on pretty tight. It is a really tight fit. So we've got those on now, and you can see what that would look like when from the game when he would get the bunny ears, and then again take it off, just pop it right off, no big deal. Now I will say the included Majora's Mask, which is awesome. I mean, look how cool this thing is. Super colorful. The paint job is just done phenomenally well on this one. Say you wanted to put the Majora's Mask on, think that, it's probably one of these deals where the entire face comes off and then this has to go on. But the face actually does stay on once it's done. So what you'll want to do is go ahead and pull the hair off and pull the face of choice off. And you're going to have this little extra plastic piece included here. And you're going to pop that right into the back of the hair. And it does have a one peg is a little larger than the other one. So you want to make sure you put it in the right way. And you'll see that it has this little peg now coming off of the hair. So just go ahead and put your face back on and put your hair on. And now you'll see that he's got sort of this like peg coming out of his forehead. And on the back of the Majora's Mask, there's a little peg hole for that. So you'll just pop that in the peg. and then you can kind of position that where you want it. And then he has his Majora mask on, which it fits like that, which is pretty cool. I like that they made it that way. That way, you know, if you're looking at it from an angle or the side, you can still see the hair. You can still see a little portion of the face and below where the chin is. So that's pretty cool. And you can see what that looks like on there. And I will say the only thing you'll want to kind of watch as you pose the figure is the head does have a pretty good amount of weight to it. Now, that peg that's included, it does go on and off pretty easily, but I wouldn't say it's loose by any means. But you know, looking down, you're fine. Side to side, you're fine. But looking up, I mean, I wouldn't go much further than that. I mean, you can, but you'll see the further you go, and it's still holding pretty good like that. But the further you go, you know, that the weight of that head is just gonna pull the head right off of that peg. So that's the only thing you'll want to kind of watch out for when you're posing the fig is the weight of that head may pop off there depending on how far back you actually put it. So if we look at the stand here, it's very similar to what we saw with Kirby. You've got your base plate here with quite a few different options of where to actually put that support peg. And we also have the smaller plastic peg here, which is actually going to be used to hold our little fairy here. So however you want to get that set up, you know, you can peg that into it as well, and you'll see that the stand will hold that. So you know, once you get Link kind of posed up, you can have that in the background if you want to. I'm sure I probably will display mine that way. And then the last thing I'll take a look at here, obviously we've got our shields and our sword, and there is a kind of a sheathed sword look as well right here, and you actually will pop the top of this off. There's a little peg here where this comes off, and you can put that on the top of the sheath to make it look like it's, you know, the sword is actually sheathed. And then you've got a couple extra more arms here, depending on various poses, as well as, you know, one is specifically designed to hold the sword. And again, what you'll have to do is kind of pop that apart, and then you put it together. There's a little peg that fits right down into that hand. And then the last thing is they included a bent knee. This is just really for more of a dynamic pose. If you want to get him into, like, maybe he's, you know, jumping with his sword, you might want to put on that bent knee that you can see there, just to give him a little bit of a different look, based on just the straighter leg look that comes standard. So that's the GoodSMILE Link from Majora's Mask, and you can see I kind of set him up here in a little pose, sort of running into battle with you know, kind of downing a potion and running into battle. So, you know, it's a really cool fig. There's tons of options you can go with. I mean, this one is quite impressive in my mind, with as many of options that you get with it. This has been the GoodSMILE review and unboxing of the 544 Kirby and the 553 from Majora's Mask. Again, we're going to have some more board games here queued up, coming up pretty soon. So if you like these figs, if you've already got them, go ahead and put your comments below. Tell me what you think of them. So hit that like, click the subscribe to join the team. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time. Woo!